is Red Hot Reds Live. Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Strauss.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast. It is Sunday at 7:30. We're a little bit early. A little special day. We got a lot to talk about. A rubber match of a week. We went into Sunday 3-3 on the week, and luckily came out with the fourth win today. And happy draft day to all those that celebrate for the MLB Draft. It is so that's why we started a little bit earlier today to get stuff going, because we got a lot to talk about. Also, a milestone for a very special manager that's close to our hearts, and we're going to talk about him a lot just in a second. That's Ricky. I'm Roger. Welcome to the show. Ricky, how was your week?
Feeling good as Steele?
Yeah, shout out to Steele Hall, number 9 pick. We'll be getting into that in a little bit because as far as I saw, there weren't many people talking about Steele Hall. There was one I was trying to remember, but maybe I'll try to find it during the show. But yeah, happy draft day. It is interesting because I think I saw out there that there's no draftees at the draft. So it's a very kind of stale television product to, you know what I mean? Because everyone tunes in the NFL draft for the hug, right? Like that's about the biggest thing, that like that interaction there to see these guys' faces light up to be drafted and whatnot. But MLB does a little bit differently because, heck, there's 20 rounds. So you can't necessarily, do all the little pomp and circumstance and have as many commercial breaks and whatnot. But anyway, we'll get into that later. With the Reds went 4-3 this week against two kind of underwhelming opponents. Any quick takeaways before we get into the show about the Redlegs?
Yeah, I mean, you split with Miami and you take 2 out of 3 from Colorado. On paper, it looks good, but it was I don't want to call it a disappointment. It was just a little underwhelming, I guess. But I've seen some people on Twitter complaining. It's like, we did good. I mean, we're 3 games over 500. Last year at the All-Star break, we were 3 games under 500. So it's an improvement, and I think we need to take it, go into the break, regroup, and just be ready to come back strong.
Yeah, would you say that Tito is 6 games above replacement, basically based on that?
I mean, that's what they said at the beginning of the year, and it looks accurate so far.
Yeah, so far. But yeah, there's still a lot of baseball left to be played, especially
a lot of baseball,
especially against some good teams. But yeah, it was an interesting week to say the least. Luckily, we won the stinking Sunday game, the rubber match. We broke that streak earlier in the year where, we usually don't win this Sunday getaway game, but it was against the Rockies. So you kind of expect it. You kind of expect a series win against the Rockies and the Marlins, but I don't know, man. It's baseball. They're all professionals on some level, some more than others. But definitely it feels good to at least have a 4-3 week than a 3-4 week. The Reds Twitter and Reds Facebook would go crazy if we end up losing this series to the Rockies. But we'll get into more of that later. I want to thank Doug and Jordan at Ohio Sports Talk for giving us this platform. We're here to try to give you Reds content throughout the whole 2025 season. We usually go live at 8 p.m. on every Sunday to recap the week and to set up the next week going into it. As we go into All-Star week, we're going to be setting that up, which is going to be exciting. We got 2 guys that are heading to Atlanta, which is awesome. Please subscribe to YouTube, Ohio Sports Talk, and Red Hot Reds Pod. Also, we're a podcast, so go to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. My old, technological ways finally figured out how to set us up on Apple Podcasts, and we're blowing up there. So thank you to all those people that subscribe and listen and watch our show. We're trying to grow, trying to get this out there to you. Hopefully some big things, maybe a playoff appearance coming up soon. That would be great to get us going off on our first maiden voyage on this podcast. But yeah, also thanks to Ricky for doing all the stuff behind the scenes. He's a busy man. He's got, I think, 7 jobs right now at the moment.
I had 3 articles put out yesterday. That was wild.
Yeah. Prolific man, also editing as well. So it's kind of like you're not only just doing your own stuff, you got to do other people's stuff too. But shout out Sir Boy in the chat.
Pro Steel show right here.
Yeah, Sir Boy seems to be on this pick. You know what I mean?
Another
shortstop. Yeah, exactly. Another shortstop put into our growing list of shortstops. But we'll break down exactly kind of what that kind of entails more or less when when the Reds kind of go with this strategy. We talked a little bit about it with Greg, so shout out to Greg Kuffner, Reds Daily 4, for coming on the show last week to break down the draft a little bit, break down the Red Leg season, at least the first half of the season, the first 100 games, right? Because we're now almost 97 games in, so it's the seems like it's been going pretty quick. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it's just now we're at the All-Star break. Now school's about to start next month. Maybe now that maybe it's going to even be even faster. But yeah. Before we get into anything else, man, you called it. A lot of people were worried. I was worried that they wouldn't get there. we finally did it. 2,000 wins for Mr. Terry Francona. Shout out to Terry. I like how you also put in the Phillies, Terry. How many wins?
I had to. It's history.
30?
He wouldn't have 2,000 without Philadelphia.
Yeah, all 30-some wins there or something like that. But anyway.
Hey, that's what they thought we were going to get when he came to Cincinnati. That's the way people talk. People talk like he's in Philadelphia.
Well, yeah, that's Reds fans for you. Just self-hating Reds fans. But anyway, we got there before the break. It was right there, right at the end, the last game, right before the All-Star break. 2,000 wins. I've been kind of making the joke, but not really. But I think they should include him in the All-Star festivities. Like no joke. They're bringing Jacob Mizorowski, who's got 5 major league games under his belt. Tito should at least just get maybe a little, I don't know, a little wave to the crowd, little standing ovation or whatnot, or I don't know. Maybe we'll see. It's in Atlanta. It's not too far. I mean, but anyway, the point being is that he's made it. He's now, a made man. He was a made man before winning 2 World Series with Boston, but now he's got this illustrious 2,000 wins. Only 13 managers have ever done it. He's he's number 13 on that list, and hopefully even more coming in this year and next year, and hopefully he fills out his contract the 3rd year. I just realized that 2027, the year that I have that take that the Reds might win the World Series, that's going to be his last year of the contract. So fingers crossed. But anyway, Ricky, what did you think about Mr. Francona and getting to this milestone?
I knew it was going to happen, obviously, this season. It was only 50 wins away, and I didn't think it would be the All-Star break, Sunday. Honestly, I was kind of hoping to be a little bit sooner than that, but he gets to celebrate it while he's off and not worry about prepping for a game tomorrow, so he can kind of soak in it and kind of enjoy it a little bit. And, I see so many people online that are just so anti-Tito. It's just come on, can we just enjoy the moment for a little bit? The guy has been around managing since the 90s, mid to late 90s, 96 when he signed with Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Had a long playing career as well. It's let him enjoy the moment. This is a monumental moment in his career, and it's something I hope he never forgets. And I'm glad that he got to do it in Cincinnati.
Yeah, for sure. It's he's kind of one of the immortals. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of guys even on that list that won 2,000 have 2 World Series to their names when I was looking over the list. So he's a guy that's surefire. I don't know what they do with managers. I don't think they do first ballot, but whatever the manager equivalent of first ballot is for Hall of Fame, I think, he's definitely heading to Cooperstown one way or another, whatever he does here in Cincinnati, notwithstanding. So it's definitely kind of cool to have a guy with this much, just this much gravitas, aura, as the kids say, right? This guy's has seen it all, done it all. Even had a stinky stint in Philadelphia that I don't know why I keep bringing up, but I think it's just seeing him so young is so kind of weird to see. That was his first or second, stint in the majors. But anyway, he's definitely earned all the respect and praise that he gets. I don't get the hate either. I think, again, it's more just self-hating Reds fans that are just self-sabotaging, so that way they don't have to feel bad later when we don't win whatever the expectation, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think he's one of the good ones. Glad that he's here in Cincinnati. Glad that he's here to lead this young ball club that, again, had another teachable moment. Did you see about the Will Benson triple?
I did. I've saw some comments on it as well. I was going to ask you how you felt about that, because I agree with Tito, but then there's also like maybe you leave that moment in private. But had he ran out of the box, potentially inside the park home run, but I mean, we still got the win regardless. And I think that was kind of Tito's thing was, we got the win, but had it came around and he gets thrown out at third, something like that happens. I think that would have been a little bit worse scenario.
Yeah, you are right about Francona's managing seems to be a way, way, way more out in the open than David Bell's for sure. Like that's night and day as far as I can tell, because Bell never chided his players, never chastised them in public. He more or less kept everything in the clubhouse, made the clubhouse sacrosanct more or less. And I'd like to think that he did have tough talks with guys that weren't performing. But I mean, I guess there's no evidence of it, which was a criticism of Bell, right? Like it seemed like he let the guys play, let the kids go out there, chaos ball, AKA. I don't know. I kind of like it because I said that transparency seems to be permeated. Like we know that Ellie nearly makes a base running error rounding second against the Yankees in extra innings. And we know right away, oh, wait, yeah, Ellie was told not to do that again. I felt kind of the same impulse about the Benson situation and not running out of the box because, yeah, he could have got stranded on third. You know this Reds offense, Ricky. There's a lot of times where we get guys in scoring positions with no outs and do nothing. So, like, I think Francona is just basically saying, like, hey, like, we need all the runs we can get. We're not a ball club that can just, like, sit back like the Yankees or the Cubs and just launch homers all the time. I don't know. I guess, yeah, the public thing, not sure. It's a good question, I guess, how Will Benson reacted. I think Will Benson would react well to it. He seems like a kid with a good head on his shoulders. He obviously, has had his struggles, but has worked through them. And as Greg says, changed his approach and been able to work in the minors on different things. So that way he can be a valuable asset to the club at the major league level. I don't know. I guess it's a good question to what should be said publicly or privately. Yes, it does work out in their favor that they won the game. I can't imagine what the vitriol would be if Benson doesn't, like he gets thrown out in third for kind of staring at the ball too long. Like, I don't know if that might be a whole controversy onto itself, right? Especially against the Colorado Rockies, man. Losing a series to them based off of just not getting out of the box quickly and staring at a home run. So I don't know, or potential home run. Like it was only like 2 feet away, right? So it was kind of crazy that I guess he could have. I don't know. He doesn't have Ellie speed, but Benson can get around the bags pretty quick. I don't know. I guess I'm not sure about the public versus private comment on that. I think Tito knows when to be the father figure of this ball club and when to be the fun dad. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah, and I was just thinking like that's what I like the one thing I don't like about this new era of ball. And I'm not like the old man like screaming out get off my lawn, but when people are just, staring at home runs, these people just they gotta realize that, hey, I've been playing baseball my whole life. I've done it before. But like there's also the moments when like you do that. It's like I'm all for showing up like, hey, I hit this ball 600 feet. But when that ball hit the wall, and like we're seeing kids in like high school doing this stuff and they're hitting doubles, getting thrown out of space. And it's just I don't really care for that message a whole lot, but I agree that I'm glad he said something to him. But I don't think it's going to affect who Benson is either.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of showboating and different things that show up in the game sometimes. Kind of have to have a measured approach and whatnot because, there are times where, it gets a little ridiculous with the bat flips or the like going around the bases, pimping the home run, whatever you call it. There's a time and place for sure. I think Benson thought genuinely it left the ballpark. It's the one part of Great American that's like really high fence, and it's a pretty deep part of the ballpark other than straightaway center. So I genuinely think he thought it left, but it didn't. It got knocked down. It oddly was kind of like the same spot that what's his name lost his no-hitter Nicky Smiles.
Martinez, yeah.
I feel like it was the same part of the ballpark that that was it Velade or who was the guy that didn't make a play on the ball. But anyway, that's besides the point. It's just like it's that weird little corner in left center, and I was like, oh well, I can't believe he actually got to third, to be honest with you, because he looked like he looked at it for a while. I guess maybe just the carom off the wall really carried it, and they had that walk-off home run in San Francisco kind of the same way, the walk-off inside the Parker that just kicked off the wall and kept going. That would have been awesome. Talk about a way to end a game. That would have been a heck of a way if Benson made it all the way around the bags for inside the Parker. But we luckily got that win. Didn't have to worry about losing a series to the Rockies. Luckily, I don't know. It's and all credit to Francona. Like, he's been pretty even keeled. I don't think he's gotten too high or too low this season. They always were like kind of had a little. I don't know. They were keeping an eye on him because I guess he's got to tell when he kind of does this with his hat and looks at his hat a lot that he's getting stressed out. But he hasn't – I don't think he's even gotten thrown out but one time this season. Like, David Bell at this point would probably have gotten a bunch of times, especially with the strike and the balls that have been not called and called this season. I don't know. I feel like he's been a steady hand and a calming presence on this young ball club.
Yeah, I got sort of a hot take. I think if Bell came back this season, he gets fired earlier in the season than he did last year.
Like, even if they're playing at this level, or you think they would have?
I don't think they're playing at this level. That's kind of my point. I mean, people are up in arms like, yeah, we're only 3 games above 500. It's like we were 3 games below 500 today last year, and in May of last year, I think what did we win 9 games? I mean, we won 9 games. We got swept 3 times in May, if not more. And I don't know. I just don't understand this obsession with David Bell, I guess. And I'm not anti David Bell. I didn't think he was the best manager for this team. You go from Dusty Baker, who had Votto, Phillips, Homer Bailey, Jay Bruce, and then they bring in veterans Scott Rowland, Ryan Ludwig, Jim Edmonds, I guess, for a stretch. And you go from him to Brian Price, and it just was terrible. And then you go from Brian Price to David Bell. Like, you would think you would go the opposite way, where you wouldn't hire another first-time manager. You would hire somebody with a little bit more experience. And I'm glad that we learned from that. And I'm not saying Tito's perfect, and I'm not saying that everything he's done this season hasn't been great, but I think we talked about it a little bit with Jeff Carr. I think he's got to teach these guys how to win, and David Bell didn't know how to do that because he was learning how to win himself.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's very possible. I mean, they fired him before the season ended last year, which was way out of left field, to be honest with you. I thought for the longest time, knowing the Castellinis and how they go about their business, is that he would just fulfill his contract through 2025 and just not be renewed for a new deal, basically, just kind of play out the end, play out the string. But the moves, more or less, not all the moves that the front office has made lately makes you think win now. But this move was the one, at least, the very least, that it was a win now or win in the next couple of years because of the young core being managed by a guy that's been there, done that, guy that's got 2,000 wins. Like, that's basically, I think, where we're at right now. So is it frustrating to be only 3 games above 500? Yeah, sure, because you'd like to be in a better spot, 4th in the division. Not great. Cardinals are dropping a little bit. The Brewers and the Cubs, though, they seem to be playing pretty strong. I don't know. They would definitely need a strong July and August, the end of July and August, to really make us believe. But if we win more games than we lose this year, I think that's a pretty good season. Based off projections, they're only supposed to win 77 games this year, right? So, like, they're supposed to be a losing ball club. They're not a losing ball club. Obviously, there's still time, but I don't think they will be at the end of the day.
Yeah, and did you know that in 2012 we had 51 wins at the All-Star break?
2012. Wow. I feel like the All-Star break's later and later now, man.
It is late. It is later in the season, but we were 9 games above 500 in 2012, and that was our best season that we've had in a very long time. So I kind of wanted to highlight this comment by Lawrence Pennington in the chat. Felt like this was the most important game of the whole season so far. I don't think that's a hot take. We were really playing bad against Colorado. You lose the first game of the series after coming off a split with Miami. And the way you lose in the first game was, Burns pitched phenomenally. What do you have? 10 strikeouts, couple walks. But then the offense couldn't get going for anything. And, you had Austin Hayes striking out, 4 times? 3 times with a double play, I think is what it was. Over 4, 3 strikeouts and a double play.
4 strikeouts.
4 strikeouts and a double play. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And then it just seems like nobody could kind of get going. And then, obviously you had Marte, who had the home run. And then a double, I think.
Yeah.
And then they pull him. And I kind of agree with Tito's explanation for it. He said he said that he coming off of an injury, he wanted him to kind of work himself back. And I think I agree with him. I think not overdoing him, let him get comfortable. Yeah, he was playing well, but just kind of let him get back into it.
Yeah, I feel like it was I thought that the main reason was just defensive replacement late in innings type of thing for Marte. I didn't think it was necessarily just to, figure out, where his physical abilities are at right now. Because Marte's a young guy. He's only 23. Or 24 at most. He's a young guy. Greg, shout out, Reds Daily 4 was lamenting about this same exact topic, that they were up big against we were up big against Miami, I think, but then basically he was trying to figure out why he's replacing him when they're up big. Let him play out the innings. I don't know. I guess there had to be some more reporting done to see if he's not 100%. But he finished out the game. I guess he was the DH today. So he finished out the whole game today, playing all 9 innings and yesterday as well, right? So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Hopefully that situation kind of resolves itself. But we did win the week, technically 4-3. I think I predicted here last week I wanted to go 6-1, and 5-2 would be great too. But baseball, man, just stinking Marlins were a hot team coming in, so maybe that kind of ruined our ability to win 6 games this week. So I don't know. What were your other takeaways from the Miami series, other than we just ran into a hot team and at least we split them?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's you want to win the series, and you want to obviously do above 500. But splitting with Miami is not the end of the world. I was really more worried about the Colorado series just based off of Friday. But I think we really need Hunter Green back. And hopefully he can come back. I'm kind of worried about him mentally with dealing with this injury. And I don't know. I'm worried that if he doesn't come back, we're not going to have enough depth in the rotation, because I think we have to trade Nick Martinez. Obviously we're not going to re-sign him, and you just hate to lose somebody to free agency and not get anything back. But I don't know. Miami's a pretty decent team. They're not the worst team in the world. They were on a heater. They had won 11 straight road games, and to split, I'll take it. It could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, for sure. It was kind of a weird series because the Reds went super cold starting in actually back in the Philadelphia series, right? Like they only scored like 1 run or 2 runs for a 4-game stretch. So it seemed weird to just like be this team again where just hot and cold and just a bunch of games in a row that were all cold. And 1 run scored on Sunday against Philadelphia was the home run for Hayes against, Zach Wheeler, who's a good pitcher. But then I think you'd be able to get a little bit off of Miami Marlins pitchers who have been struggling. But, that's baseball, right? Like it seems like the thing that I was thinking throughout this whole week is that the Reds just seem to play to their competition. And you would think if the Miami Marlins were coming in on a heater, that the Reds would match that energy and be able to they kind of did by splitting the series. But right off the bat, it seemed like Miami was ready to go. They were hitting the ball everywhere, and the Reds were just not. Luckily, it was a 4-game series and not a 3-game. Otherwise, they would have lost that series to a, I don't know. You want to dog on the Miami Marlins, but talk about a team that does a lot with not a lot of resources. Like the whole stat that their whole team's payroll is $46 million, and Juan Soto gets paid $45 million a year just to be on the Mets. So that kind of stuff makes you go yeah, man, that's to borrow a phrase from Trace, a poverty franchise. We shouldn't be losing to a team who has less than half of our salary. But again, like I said, it's baseball. They're all professionals on some level. The thing that I guess I was most worried about as well is during that Miami series, it was supposed to be, I think, when Hunter kind of was starting to do some rehab or some stints to pitch off the mound. I don't know. That is a kind of concerning thing. We are now going into a 4th week without Hunter Green or so. If we're going to be competitive down the stretch, he has to be right. And Greg was talking about how it seems to be kind of a mental thing because the MRI or the CAT scan or whatever he's getting done is not coming back with any injury or anything there that they can see. So for him to have his groin kind of be hurting still, hopefully that's just maybe he needs to get the push through some mental stuff. I don't know. Maybe there is something there they're missing. It's kind of an odd situation, and hopefully that resolves itself after the All-Star break, like you were saying, because we're going to need him. We're going to definitely need him going down the stretch.
Yeah, and I just that's my biggest fear is just not having the depth in the rotation. That was our strength coming into the season, was depth. And obviously, you kind of hope that Chase Petty would have been a little bit better this season, and Brett Lauder would have been healthy, and then you would have Burns as your additional piece. But now you're kind of relying on Burns, and that's I don't think it's fair to him, and I don't think it's fair to the team in a way too. I mean, it's not anybody's fault, but you kind of feel for Burns kind of being thrown into the fire as hey, we need you to go out there and be really good, and you're going to learn, but we need you to be really good. And he's been really good, but he's had his bumps, and unfortunately some of those bumps have cost us, but you can't blame him. It's not his fault.
No, I think Greg said that it was basically confirmed by Derek Johnson that he was tipping pitches at Boston series. So like Greg said, it definitely, that's a better feeling than his stuff is hittable. You know what I mean? It's only hittable if they know it's coming type of situation, which, Major League players, they do. I think we talked about it in the live stream with Sir Boy and you, is that they look at that kind of stuff in the smallest stuff. They may be guessing sometimes, right? It may not be a huge tip where they're seeing something completely obvious, but at the same time, they're professionals looking for those little edges to get any advantage, right? They're all pros trying to, earn their money, earn their contract, win the game for their team or whatnot. It is a bit strange that now we're concerned about our pitching and pitching staff, especially. It seems like since the Kirby interview, both of us kind of changed our tone and saying, no, we don't need the big bat. We need to supplement this pitching because the pitching is kind of, the hitting's been basically picking up for the lack of pitching performances. Now the pitching performances in the early part of the year were fantastic. So you like some sort of in the middle, like meeting in the middle there, where they actually have great pitching performances and great hitting performances consistently, and not like one and then the other. But again, baseball, 162 game sample is going to be, they're going to have some weird stretches. The one thing that I don't know if the Reds can afford to do is get rid of like a Nick Martinez if they're in like the race. You know what I mean? I understand what you're talking about. And we talked about this too, because 21 million, they did it with Frankie Montas last year, where his money, they got it off the books because they didn't see a future for him. Probably a little bit of the same thing for Nick Martinez. I don't think they see a long-term future. He's already 34 already. So it's like, he's obviously not going to be in Cincinnati very long, if anything. I don't know if you do deal him. I know you don't get anything if he walks in the offseason, but if we're competitive, we need the arms. You know what I mean? Like he might do the same thing that he did at the end of last year, where he was the best pitcher down the stretch and end up being, the guy that kept him competitive relatively last year. So I don't know. There would have to be a breaking point where the Reds have a really bad stretch right before the break where I see that happening. Otherwise, I think Nick Martinez stays on this team. At least I don't know. I shouldn't predict because I'm not necessarily the greatest at predicting this stuff, but I think that they're going to be competitive enough to justify that, hey, this guy needs to be, pitching for us until his contract runs out at the end of this season. And unfortunately, it'll be, thank you for your service, Nick Martinez.
Yeah, I guess maybe we can transition now. You want to feel old for a second? So
yeah, sure.
The guy we just drafted is 17 years old, and he was born in 2007.
Yeah, I remember 2007. You know who got drafted that his dad had a pretty good 2007 is Ethan Holiday. Got drafted by the Colorado Rockies, number 4 pick. That was like the only Sherlock pick that everybody in mock drafts like knew what was going to happen. I don't know if like the Rockies made a deal, say, hey guys, come on, we need to draft. we need Matt Holiday's
help.
Kid. Yeah, but I think
hey,
Ethan
you
Holiday
think about their
also,
last 2 drafts. I don't want to turn this into a Rocky show, but they draft Charlie Condon and then Ethan Holiday back-to-back years. I mean, are they setting themselves up to have that new like Cargo and Troy Tulowitzki kind of combo?
Yeah. Well, when I saw he got drafted, Ethan Holiday, I was like, Rocktober 2.0 coming.
Yeah, yeah.
You
know what though, man? They deserve it. They deserve it.
It's just a really low point in their history. They're only a 30-year-old team, man. They're younger than both of us. So like, this is a baseball team that hasn't been around long. I get that baseball is a suffering sport because, you know what I mean? Like, you play 162 games and you lose 100. That's demoralizing. But I don't know. I guess my dad's going to be happy because the Rockies are going to beat the White Sox record for most losses in a season. Probably. It'd be crazy if like the Rockies go on a hot streak and somehow avoid that. I think they need to get 43 wins. I forget what the number is.
I don't know if they can do it. I don't think they have it in them. So I guess let's talk about the kid for a minute. Steele Hall, shortstop out of Hewitt-Trussville High School in Alabama. I have a scouting report on him from Perfect Game. When they did their measurements, he was 5'11", 175. I think they have him listed at 6 foot and a tad bit heavier, maybe 180, 185, I think. He reclassified. He was originally going to be eligible for the draft next year. He reclassified. MLB Network did a little video with him, and they have him compared to Trey Turner. So I'll take Trey Turner. He's pretty good. But they have, he's 5'11", 175 pounds. He has wiry strength throughout with tons of length to the levers. Plenty of twitch throughout too. Well-proportioned build with further projection throughout. So he could get bigger. Right-handed hitter with a spread base, high hands, and the elbow up. He uses a simple leg lift trigger and a good move to the hands deep and create separation. Compact stroke with feel to get the barrel out front. He is very in sync operation and some length throughout the hitting zone and feel to create some whip. Tools, smooth right-handed stroke, bat to ball skills reign supreme in his profile. He is consistently on the barrel and finds way to do damage and produce on the circuit. He's exceptionally athletic and produces plus run times consistently, being someone who ranges well in the infield as well. He's got the tools to stick at shortstop at the next level. So he was the 12th ranked prospect overall in the draft. I think he was committed to Tennessee. So I think there's a chance we sign him. I think he wouldn't reclassify to go to the draft and he wouldn't sign. He, I could see it where, 2029, Ellie's on his way out and this kid's coming up. And you don't want to think about stuff like that. But, I mean, with him and Tyson Lewis and some of those young guys down in the ACL and the high A or low A Daytona teams like Sammy Stafura, there's some guys that should they work out, you're never going to replace Ellie's hype, but you could supplement some of his production a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And I think our guy Ethan on X says that he's one of the fastest guys clocked in the draft. So shout out to that. Like, I guess replacing Ellie's speed as well in 2029, possibly. But the other thing that like is different about the MLB draft than any other draft, and a lot of people have been talking about this week, is like these guys, like they have to work on their game for at least a year, maybe a little bit more, depending on the prospect. And a guy coming out of high school could be 3 to 4 to 5 years possibly in the minors working on his game to be ready for, Major League Baseball. So it's kind of a weird draft where you see this kid now, unless you're, a diehard following all the minor league stuff all the way down to the ACL Reds, like you're probably not going to see him for a couple of years or hear about him maybe for a couple of years. And that's kind of crazy to think about, like these guys that are on the path, on the journey, basically kind of just like forgotten about for a long time. I know that like the NFL draft has become such a TV spectacle because those guys make immediate impacts and they have like, backstories that you can follow and stuff like that. It takes a longer attention span for baseball for sure to have like this guy like in your system and follow through like all the different, paths he might take or many different obstacles he might have to get through in order to get to the Major League Ball Club. But yeah, and then also the other thing I wanted to kind of clarify is like I think I saw this all over X and we lamented about it when we were talking about the minor leagues before the season started, is that the drafting of the shortstop and the drafting of like center fielders is like the reason why that we draft a bunch of shortstops is kind of like what Greg had talked about midweek with us, is that they're the best athletes on the field. It's the hardest defensive position in the infield to cover. So you want to try to find the best athletes. If you get a guy that primarily plays second base and never played shortstop, it probably is an indication he doesn't have the arm strength to play at the top level. Same thing could go for outfielders. A lot of center fielders get drafted because those are the best outfielders athletically. And if you got a guy that's in left field, that's usually probably to stash him to hide his defensive liabilities. So you're going to find a lot of guys that are, outfielders that are center fielders, guys that are shortstops that are going to be drafted high, and they don't necessarily always play that position when they get to the next level, or even in the minors. They may switch position in the minors to fill a need, or maybe that's what they see could be his major league position. So like, yeah, we always joke about how we have like 6, potential Ellie replacements coming through, whether it's Arroyo, Stafura, like Tyson Lewis, always ACL Reds. I don't know. I guess we're still doing that draft strategy. We're just getting the best athlete available. This one was a surprise, though, to be honest with you. Like, let me run through this. This was my research that I did for the draft because I'm not a huge draft guy. Baseball, like I said, has it takes a lot of attention span to figure out which guys are good because you're not only talking about college guys that are eligible for this draft, but like guys like this, high schoolers, 17-year-olds. Like no one's going around. I mean, the Reds have scouts going around, but nobody that's like, working a 9 to 5 is going to be going around trying to figure out is Billy Colson or JoJo Parker better than Steele Hall, right? Like, sure, I'll take all the scouting reports words as gold because I'm not going out there watching Corona High School play on a daily basis. But that's neither here nor there. The research I did was trying to figure out what did the websites that we kind of follow, some of the other like ESPN and stuff like that, who do they think the Reds were going to take? And I'm not here to put them on blast. I'm here to kind of illustrate a point that the MLB draft is you can't predict it. And like I said, the only pick that was consistently correct was Ethan Holiday to the Rockies. That's it. That's the only one that most people got right. But here, the Scouting Tribune said that the Reds were going to take Kyson Witherspoon of Oklahoma. MLB.com said JoJo Parker, high schooler. ESPN said Seth Hernandez, Corona. He went higher, so unfortunately he wasn't available. Pitcher list, a website I read sometimes. Gavin Killen, shortstop out of Tennessee. Where did he go? Just Baseball said Jace Laviolette, outfielder, Texas A&M. Baseball America said Ike Irish twice in 2 different mock drafts, and he went later. He went 19. He kind of fell, to be honest with you.
He went that far?
Yeah, I just saw it just here. Baseball Journal, or Baseball Prospect Journal, Liam Doyle. Liam Doyle, I think, went second. He shot up the charts for his College World Series performances. I think everyone kind of was like, yeah, let's get this left-hander out of Tennessee. Jeff Carr wanted Seth Hernandez, Corona High School. 3-on-3 said Billy Carlson, who actually was available and went to the White Sox at 10. Blog Red Machine. This was the one that I texted you because I was like, this could happen. Mark Houston out of Wake Forest to
go 3 straight years.
3 yeah, but he was an outfielder. But the guy was, I guess, a pretty decent prospect. He just went. Oh, I just saw it. Mark Houston went later after, obviously, maybe 20 something. Let's see, Mark Houston. Oh, I just had it up here. Mark Houston went 16th to the Twins. So, there were a lot of guys that were potentially linked to the Red Legs. Gavin Killen, the shortstop Tennessee, went 13th to the Giants. Jamie Arnold was available. That's a guy that was supposedly the first overall pick potential, when he started the college season. I don't know if he had a bad college season at Florida State, but he was a left-hander that was available for the Reds as well at 9. So I don't know. This is the thing, is that an Irish went 19th to the Baltimore Orioles. Not bad, but Adlai Rushman. Maybe it's Adlai Rushman's replacement. But anyway, the main point is that baseball is different in the draft. It's cool that we get to look at this potential future Red, but we're not going to really hear too much about him. And at least, I don't know. You think he goes ACL Reds, goes to the complex, or does he just go and kind of take the rest of the year off, kind of like they did with Chase Burns?
I think they'll play him. I think he'll go rookie ball to start out. And probably, maybe, depending on how he does, might go to the fall league. And then I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the ACL again in 26. So I don't know. I was kind of looking at that pitcher from Arkansas that threw the no-hitter in the College World Series, Gage Wood. He got drafted by the Phillies, so that makes sense. That's terrifying, just based off who they have. And he's probably going to make it up sooner than later. He probably starts in Double-A or something for them. But, yeah, some more notes on Steele Hall. He hit .484 with 8 home runs, earning all-state honors. He's got a lot of speed. He jumped up to number 13 overall. He wasn't even on the 150 list for the pipeline. So he jumped from basically nowhere to top 10 in the draft. And He looks the part, I guess. Obviously we'll keep an eye on him. He's young. He's the first middle infielder drafted from Alabama prep rank since 1971, and that was Carter Johnson for them. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about I mean, I was kind of I was kind of getting my hopes up, thinking we'd go after somebody that could come up within the next year or two. We didn't do that last year. I'm glad we got Chase Burns. Don't get me wrong, like, but when you had guys like Jack Caglione have come available, and not Connor, gosh, the guy out of Georgia, Charlie Condon, and guys like that, and you thought, oh, they could come up in the next year or two, and they could be the offensive help that we need. Because as Clay Snowden pointed out earlier in the year with us, if you're gonna draft pitchers, you've got to sign free agent bats, and we've just sucked at that. Basically, in the Castellini era, I mean, we haven't signed a legit free agent worth a contract. I mean, other than Nick Castellanos, and he was only here 2 years. And we had Mike Moustakas for 3 years. They didn't do a damn thing. And Jamer Candelario, see you later. He's just as bad. Some people are saying worse. At least with Candelario, you saw some effort, as Sirboy Wonder has said when he was on our Chase Burns show. But we've got to hit on money picks, and we just, and hopefully this kid in the next 4 years jumps up, maybe goes on a Sal Stewart type run, where Sal Stewart came out of high school. He's only 21 years old right now, and he could potentially play on the big league roster this year should he go out of his mind in Louisville. And we're going to talk about him later. But I mean, I don't know. It's not the worst pick. I'm going to get out of my own head here. And it's not the NFL. You're not drafting a guy to play tomorrow. And hopefully this kid, for all of Reds country, becomes the next Hall of Famer.
For sure. I don't mind the pick either. It's more of like, I like the organization they had where they picked guys in the first round that they felt like they were going to see soon. And this is just kind of the last couple of years. Louder, Burns, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And it felt like, yeah, why waste a first round pick on a project, a guy that you're not going to see for 4 years? It's tough to sell that to a fan base. Obviously, it's tough to sell that, I would think, as well to a front office. Because
what I just thought of? I'm sorry to cut you off, but 2015 we draft Tyler Stevenson. 5 years later, out of high school.
Yeah.
5 years later, 2020, we draft Austin Hendrick out of high school. 5 years later, 2025, Steele Hall out of high school. So I'm picking up something here. Every 5 years we take a project.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, there was definitely a situation where I thought that they were just going to try to get guys that would be ready in a year, like you said, in the first round, and then like a second round pick like Tyson Lewis. There's the project, the guy with the high upside. Yeah. You know what I mean? That I guess
he might not even be a project. He could be a star.
Yeah. Well, but anyway, he's coming out. He was another 17-year-old, I think, when he was drafted, right? So like the second round pick will tell me what the front office is thinking. The 51st pick, is it going to be a guy that can play right away? Is it going to be a guy that's going to be another project? So like, at least at this point in the Reds draft, these are guys that may be coming in way after the Tito Francona era. Which is not, it's fine. The organization has to last past Tito, right? So they have to be able to do that. I guess my question is, since we were talking about Sal Stewart, and shout out to him for getting promoted to AAA, is that does Tyson Lewis get called up, and then also Sammy Stafuro? Like, is there's going to be this chain reaction of shortstops moving up? That would be my question. Or do they just have kind of like, Lewis play? Because they don't play every day at ACL. I find out like all their box scores, they only play like 4 games a week, and they're rotated through because they're just a bunch of young guys, just out of high school. So I don't know if they're trying not to overuse them. Maybe maybe Mr. Steele Hall will basically kind of give off days to Tyson Lewis and whatnot, just so he can work him in easily. So maybe a promotion not necessarily in the cards yet, but Leo Balcazar got from up to Chattanooga. So that'll be interesting to see what they do with Edwin Arroyo, because Balcazar is a shortstop as well, I believe, right?
So I looked at the game log. I've been doing the minor league report for SI, and he played second base yesterday. Balcazar did. So they're sticking with Arroyo at short. It's interesting. I'm seeing some people on Twitter saying that Arroyo could be packaged in a trade, but it's like he's fell off the prospect ranking. He's no longer a top 100 prospect. He hasn't had a great season, and he's not really showing the best defensive stuff this year either. But I don't know. I wanted to highlight Fred's comment here. Was he a chance where he goes to college instead? I just looked at his Twitter. He committed in 2022, and so he would have been a freshman in high school, I think, because he reclassified. He'd be a senior next year, technically. So he committed young. So I think he wouldn't reclassify to go to college. I think he reclassifies to get picked to go professional.
Do you think that's like a conversation they have ahead of time? I feel like that's in the best interest of the Reds organization to feel that out. Like if it's a situation, and maybe why they go certain directions that, like some prognosticators can't really tell, is if they get a sense of like a guy that's probably going to try to go to college, or like not want to come to the organization that picked him. I like to think they did their due diligence to make sure, oh yeah, I'm not going to go to Tennessee next year. I'd rather play pro ball. At least that's my hope. I'm not exactly sure who makes that call. If it's Nick Kroll or Brad Meter making sure that, hey, we want to pick you. Are you on board type of situation?
Yeah, that makes sense. Like we talked about, it's not like football, like you're not drafting, the Bengals aren't drafting Joe Burrow and he goes, you know what, I'm going to go play in Canada for a year and reclassify. It's baseball, such a weird sport, how you can do that kind of stuff. You can get drafted out of high school, decline, go to junior college, get drafted, or you can go play 3 years in college and get drafted. And if you don't like your pick in your third year, you can go back to college again and play your senior season. So it's a weird dynamic. I think he signs. It's probably going to be a little bit lower of a slot value than what it could have been, just because he reclassified. But I'm looking at some video of him right now. I see a little bit of Tyson Lewis in him. He's got a strong arm and quick hands. So, and speaking of Tyson Lewis, I wouldn't be surprised if we hear something on him here pretty soon too.
Yeah, I hear you got insiders on this type of thing, Rick. You got some guys that work in the business or have some ears to the ground, so to speak, to get this, which is good, because we were asking Greg about this, last week, and he was talking about there may be some stuff coming around the All-Star break, after the All-Star break, and now we're here. So
Ellie was called up after the Futures game. He got called up from AA to AAA. Sal Stewart got called up. And it's funny, you look back at that Futures game, you had Ellie and Andrew Abbott, and then now there are All-Stars. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's weird to have it worked out that way. That's pretty good. That's pretty good way to talk about that. So do you want to get into the Sal Stewart stuff now, or you want to table that for a little bit? Because I'd like to talk about let's get into it. Sal Stewart, shout out to him. We definitely have been clamoring for this situation where basically he has been hitting the heck out of the ball. He was like in Dayton last year, only like raked there as well. Like he's just been great. He's been really working through the system, and yeah, I mean he's kind of made himself kind of undeniable to go up to the next level. Now this is where it kind of gets interesting. You had talked about like if he continues the rake, now they're going to start to use a different ball. They're going to use the major league ball. That's going to be kind of interesting to see how his first week couple weeks ago at Louisville.
He probably hits the ball a lot harder and a lot farther.
It could be. I would be not surprised at that because he's just done it at every single level and continues to do it. And Greg even pointed out that like he's still growing into his body, into his power. So like that's kind of scary as well, that he's kind of not even reached his peak physical form. So shout out to Sal. He's going to Louisville, a team that's pretty stacked as it is with some different guys in the infield. But hey, he's just going to have to make himself even more undeniable. And I think you put in the document that when is he going to get his chance at the big ball club? Do you have thoughts on that?
I think realistically it's next year, but like if he goes on a heater and he goes up to AAA and he goes and hits like, I don't know, let's just say 340 in the next 40 games, shows some more power potential. I don't know if I'm not real familiar with minor league ballparks, but I know Chattanooga has a massive wall. So Louisville looks a little bit more normal, I guess. Yeah. So if he goes out there and hits like 6-7 home runs in Louisville and hits 320, 330, and let's just say, knock on wood, something happens to one of the main guys. Let's just say second base, third base-ish. And we need a guy. You have to make a 40-man decision. But, I mean, Sal Stewart next to Ellie De La Cruz at third base, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Fred's putting out there like, hey, where is he going to play at Louisville? I was thinking third base. Today, Encarnacion Strand started at third there. But like we kind of talked about possibly CES being an outfielder to kind of cover up a little bit of his, unless he's going to work on his defense down there at Louisville at third. His defense has not been, that great at the Major League ball club level with third base. So I don't know. I think Sal could play there. I think Edwin Rio still plays first base there. So I don't know if they would try to work him in at first base at all. But I don't know. Anywhere there, I don't think outfield's in his plans at the moment. I don't think he's playing outfield for Chattanooga. But
I think no, go ahead.
I would say my guess would be third base.
I think if I don't know, me and Greg kind of texted back and forth on this the other day. Should Marte still struggle at third? He's super athletic. Move him to a corner outfield spot, and he's got a cannon, and maybe just let it fly. Keep him in the lineup, put him in the outfield. We need outfielders. If he could transition into an outfielder, maybe you do that, and then you put Sal at third, and then 2026/27, you have Cam Collier playing first. CES at DH, should he develop into what we think he can be? And you look at that infield, man. You have Elliott short, McLean at second, Collier at first, Sal Stewart at third, probably Hector Rodriguez at shortstop or center field, and Marte in right, Benson in left. I mean, that looks pretty good. It's, I don't want to look too far ahead. We want to look at this year, but it's exciting to think about. Just when you finally see prospects kind of getting there. And Sal's been a guy who he kind of dealt with the injury bug last year for Dayton. So he got called up, has made the best of his opportunity in Chattanooga, and he's one call away from Cincinnati.
Yeah, and definitely want to make sure, because he's 21, want to make sure that he's not pushed through too quickly. I think we talked about this a little bit with Marte. You've commentated that Marte kind of had similar, not exactly the same trajectory, but he got pushed through the system very, very quickly to be on that 2023 team. It wasn't really expected to be up there, but you hopefully want to see how he does in Louisville first. Hopefully he has a good month, because there's been a couple guys that, have Blake Dunn's actually starting to hit again in AAA. So look out for that call up. Calling it now because he's been kind of. I think he's like a 33 game on base streak for Mr. Blake Dunn. So shout out to him. A real guy that's still sticking with it down there in the minors. But yeah, and was it? Yeah, I was going to talk. Yeah, Lawrence was talking about how Steele being the best athlete is the way to go about it. For sure, the drafting strategy seems to be pretty solid. I don't think it's a bad strategy. I don't think it's a good excellent strategy. I think a lot of teams go with it. Seeing that usually in high school, especially high school, the best athlete is that shortstop or the center fielder, depending on how good your baseball team. Anything kind of up the middle, I guess. Really, catchers, pitchers, shortstops, and center outfielders. So I don't know. He definitely came out of nowhere though in terms of just the predicting. Like I had said earlier, like I think I only saw one publication talk about Steele Hall, and I was like, who is this guy? Like, I read up on Ike Irish, I read up on Kyson Witherspoon, I read up on like Liam Doyle's of the world and whatnot, guys that were for sure top 10s. Except Ike Irish wasn't top 10, I should say. But it was definitely kind of a little bit of a surprise, and that's kind of like the Reds, right? Like I think we were all surprised with the Chase Burns pick when Charlie Condon was available. So that's also the MLB draft is a bit unconventional in terms of you don't know exactly what they're drafting for. Are they drafting for the now? Or are they drafting for 4 years from now? And I think this pick kind of indicates they're like 2 or 3 years, down the road that we're going to start hearing more and more about, Cincinnati Red, Steele Hall. But hey, he's one of the fastest guys in the draft, and we like guys that can steal bases and can do that. And another guy that's kind of gotten back, he's got his steals back because I think Trace and Nick talked about how he's not stealing as much, and then all of a sudden, Ellie gets a stolen base, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. So
yeah,
I don't know. We're going to come to our segment where we're going to talk very nuanced talk about Ellie De La Cruz and figure out, is he good, Ricky?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's pretty good too. Not necessarily, not like hitting home runs, but have you seen his at bats lately? My goodness, he is working the count. He is just getting like the bat on the ball and putting it in play, and just like his average now is up to 284. So like, hell yeah, let's go. This guy should be starting the All-Star game. Come on.
Hey, you want to know what his stats versus left-handed pitching are?
Is it good or bad? I feel like, is this a bad stat?
No, it's not actually. I mean, compared to what it was.
Oh, okay.
He is batting .233 with a .383 slug. He has 5 home runs in a .664 OPS. So,
okay,
he's good.
Not bad. And I think he's like, he's at 20 yet, or is he still sitting on 18?
He has 18.
Yeah. So he's almost there at the 2020 club. We'll have to do it against the Mets and basically show everybody he's better than Francisco Lindor, which that's definitely that's how I judge my players. If Ellie goes out there and beats the Mets, then he's obviously better. Same thing with Judge. Like Ellie's better than Judge basically because we beat them in the 2 out of 3 games. So yeah, he's good. Any other comments on this?
Yeah. You want to know what his OPS is for overall? The last 7 games?
Oh,
1109.
Wow. Okay, we got to change the segment. He's great. He's not good. Yeah. He's great.
So in his last 7 games, 391, 500 on base, 609 slug. He's got 5 walks, 3 strikeouts. He struck out less than he's walked. He's obviously he got helped with the intentional walks the other day, but yeah, he's getting that Barry Bonds treatment, which I have been saying for a year now. That compare this man to Barry Bonds.
Yeah,
he is 9 for 23 in his last 15 games. He's batting .309 with a 400 slug.
That's crazy.
11 strikeouts, 8 walks. So he's up there, even. He's even almost with walks and strikeouts. And we're going to get into it with him with our Facebook comment of the week. It seems like most of our Facebook comment of the weeks revolve around Ellie De La Cruz, but this one's a good one. This is a really good one.
Yeah, you don't say. Yeah, I mean, shout out to Fred. Fred says he's good too, so that makes sense.
So Ellie De La Cruz, is he good?
Yeah, he's good.
He's good.
Yeah. Barry Bonds, is he good?
Oh, he's great.
Okay. So hey, again, we might
should be a Hall of Famer in my mind. You can't change my mind. I'm like that guy with the sign on the table with the sign saying Barry Bonds is a Hall of Famer. Changed my mind. It's like you say steroids. Well, David Ortiz is in the Hall of Fame, so change my mind.
Yeah. I think we got another episode coming in the off season about that. Sounds like from Ricky.
Yeah.
That sounds, or a bunch of articles about defending the honor of Barry Bonds. I mean, hey, he's got the records. Like, it's not like they're not taking away the Houston Astros World Series wins. I'll say that. So that's a little bit of a different can of worms, but we'll. I think I'll just leave it there. But yeah, you had mentioned the. Let's do Red Hot Red of the Week first before we get into the Reds Facebook comment, which is a little bit different this time. I think you sent me something that was a little bit more.
It's a positive one.
Interesting, but this is the Red Hot Red of the Week, the part of the week that we highlight the guy or a couple guys, because I don't like to necessarily have the same guy for Ricky unless it's undeniable, like a Will Benson week or a Christian Encarnacion 3-game stand against the Diamondbacks. But who do you got, Ricky, for the Red Hot Red of the Week?
Is this going to be any surprise?
Is it Alston Hendrick?
That way, yeah. Noelvi Marte is my Red Hot Red of the Week. 318, 773 slug, 3 home runs, 4 strikeouts and a walk. Stolen base in his last 7 games. He's been on fire. He's had his miscues defensively. I think he's got that classic case of the yips. I think he's just overthinking because he made a play the other day where he just ran and caught the ball and threw it and got the guy out. So I think he's just thinking about where he's wanting to put the ball. And instead of doing that, he just needs to go out and just play. Remember that the game's fun and you're not going to be perfect. And I don't know. It seems like people complain more about Marte at third defensively than they do about Ellie at short. And I don't know. You want these guys to make a throw, but obviously Ellie makes the spectacular plays and struggles with the more common play. And Marte seems to be like, if he has too much time, he thinks about it and throws it away. But if he has to rush, he gets it there. So Noelvi Marte is my Red Hot Red of the Week.
Yeah, shout out to him. He had a pretty good week. And yeah, he's figuring it out. What's that?
Walk winner yesterday.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
And he had the home run, back-to-back games? He had the home run on Friday, and he had the home run yesterday. So I'll take it. Red Hot Red of the Week. Noelvi Marte.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely have him up there with that. But my guy is Andrew Abbott. We found out this week he was going to be an injury replacement, and then went out and threw 7 1/3 innings a couple of days later against the Marlins. It's kind of the streak stopper, right? Like that was when we were recording with Greg, right? Like he was like, that's what Ace kind of does. So I think we kind of talked about that a little bit. Like they were struggling, but then when this guy gets on the mound, you know what I mean? Like the confidence, I think, of the team kind of goes up. They definitely stopped the Marlins in their tracks because they had come in pretty red hot, like you said, winning 11 straight away games. And that's kind of crazy that this guy wasn't necessarily a for sure all-star. You know what I mean? It's Fred's GOAT right there. So shout out to Fred.
Hey, people wanted him traded before the season started.
Yeah, I won't talk about that. But I think Fred said that the only reason why he's watching the All-Star game is for Andrew. So shout out to him. But like basically, it's kind of crazy that he wasn't like named to the reserves. That had to be an injury replacement. But Hunter had the same kind of treatment last year. Maybe it's just disrespect towards Cincinnati pitchers. They gotta probably look a little bit harder than maybe put a guy in that only has 5 starts on the season or whatnot before they before they put anybody else in there. But yeah, shout out to Andrew Abbott for that. Well, didn't Austin Hendrick have a good week this week? Isn't the 4-for-4 game, or was that last week? Can't remember now.
I think that was technically last week. I think it was on like Saturday.
4th of July game.
Okay. Yeah, it was last Friday. He's always my red hot red of the week, though. I don't care what happens.
Yeah, it just feels like it was yesterday because that's all. That's all I'm thinking about is Austin Hendrick's 4-for-4 game. But yeah, any other honorable mentions?
I was gonna go with Andrew Abbott if I hadn't done that. I'll shout out Tyler Stevenson's slide today. I don't know if you saw that. That was awesome. And William says in the chat, Marte has had a great week for the Reds, even though the Reds had an up and down week going 4-3 versus the Marlins and Rockies. Kind of frustrating. Yeah, I get that. But had Marte not been on the team, we probably lose a couple more of those games. So I'll take it. I've always been a big Marte fan. I love Ellie. Don't get me wrong. I think Ellie's got like face of the game type talent.
Yeah.
But I think Marte could be the team's best offensive player overall. Just hitting in, just I don't want to say he's not power. He's like I see a lot of Manny Machado in him. Just when he hits the ball, he hits it hard, and if he just lifts it enough, he's going to hit it out. And I don't know. Do you remember his first career home run, Marte's?
Can't say.
So it was against Seattle, I believe, at home. And he ripped that thing like 109. It barely, I think it was like a 23-degree launch angle. It was a line drive. It just barely cleared the left field tall wall. So, I mean, when he hits it hard, if he hits it hard enough, it's going to find a way to get out. And he could put up a 20 home run season should he hit the ball hard enough. But I've always been a Marte fan. And if you could have Ellie, Marte playing up to his potential, and McLean playing up to his potential, and some of these prospects coming up playing to what they could be, like I'll say it again, man, this team has, I'm not going to say it, but they have potential to go on a run kind of like the 70s team.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Another honorable mention is Brady Singer. And I was just thinking about Brady Singer just kind of the other day or this week, is that he's being that innings eater as well. Like he's been so Mr. kind of dependable. He's not necessarily having like ace type season like Andrew Abbott, but against the Rockies yesterday, he went 6 1/3, 9 strikeouts. He did give up 3 earned runs, but like he's kind of like Mr. Dependable. Like he's the guy that the Reds kind of need. The reason why they traded for, and exactly they're getting what they traded for, is a guy that can go out there every 5th day, doesn't have really any nagging injuries. I think his mechanics and the way he goes about it kind of lend him to just go out there and every single game, just go at least 6 deep, maybe longer. And he had a pretty decent start to the season. I see what he started like 4-0. Unfortunately, he's like 7-7 on the year, 7-8 or whatever. But he's going out there. You don't have to worry about, if we get to a certain pitch count, he's not going to be able to perform, or like if he gets hit in the first inning. Like he's a veteran that's been hit around enough that knows how to settle down and get back to his stuff and get back to it. So shout out to him. Yeah, he kept the Reds in the stinking game against the Rockies, which is kind of a silly statement just to say out loud, but that's basically what they did. Is they had to just hold on against the Rockies just to beat them in the 9th inning, which is, anyway, we won the game. That's all that matters, right? All counts the same, whether they won by 10 or won by 1. So there's that.
I wanted to say my 7-year-old son's watching the show on my wife's Facebook account. So shout out Paxton for watching the show. He's in his room mad because he can't come out here and be on here with me. But if he was out here, he'd be on my lap watching this with us. So yeah, shout out to him.
That's good stuff. Well, then it's good that we have a positive Red Facebook comment of the week, because if it was negative, I don't know if we necessarily want the kids to hear this type.
We're a kids show.
Yeah, we're pro kids.
Pro kids show.
But we got a kind of a different type of Reds Facebook comment of the week, a positive one. You don't see that very often, and I think the Facebook algorithm feeds the negative stuff way too much. So, but look at this one. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, we got Ellie would be over a 300 batter this season and will be nowhere near the top of the list in strikeouts. You're seeing a superstar blossom right now. It's a damn shame so many Reds fans are too busy complaining to actually enjoy this time we have with them. I, for one, am soaking in every moment of it because I know when it's over, we won't have another one like him. Not for a long, long time. I didn't want to leave the guy's name in there. I guess this is probably one I could have. Shout out to that guy for speaking for me, honestly, because it sucks because you see a guy with not only the talent Ellie has, but just the kind of person he is too. And I think that gets lost in the unbuttoned shirt and the chains and everything. But, you know, I don't think they ever really said what his sister's condition was. But I think if you had to guess, he wears pink and light blue a lot. And everybody knows what pink is. And I think not a lot of people know what light blue is, but it's ovarian. So I don't want to, you know, speak for him, but I think he wears his family on him at all times. And he's got the necklace with his parents on it, and he's real close with his brother and stuff like that. And everyone, yeah, and everyone loves him on the team, right? I mean, they say he's just like always trying to make guys laugh, have a good time. And God, man, if we could keep him long term, I think his character and his personality, along with Hunter Green and his character, I mean, you couldn't ask for two better faces of a team than Ellie De La Cruz and Hunter Green.
Oh, most definitely. And I don't think any Reds fans should be criticizing him because this is the same. The situation about when his sister passed away and he went to the Dominican for like a day.
Yeah.
A guy that rushed back on what, like a regular flight? Like they didn't even get him like a chartered flight.
Yeah, he just flew back commercial.
He flew commercial, but he rushed back. He wanted to play in the Friday game, and I think that game got suspended due to rain. So he ended up being able to play in that game the next day for the doubleheader, which is just mind-blowing, just to be like, this guy likes baseball that much and feels that deep desire to play every day. Like,
cares about his team.
Yeah, you get a lot of guys that nowadays, because the money is so big and so, you know, like these guys are so well taken care of compared to, like, say, in the time of the Big Red Machine where these guys were making not as much money, obviously. Like, he's still wanting to go out there and earn it. Now, obviously, he's still pre-arbitration, so maybe he's putting in the work now to earn his money later, but still, like, that's, again, the one time where we did down the narrative, like, per dollar, Ellie De La Cruz is one of the most valuable players in the league. I mean, Absolutely. Shout out to Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar Henderson's in that same category, but unfortunately, he's on
Paul Skeens.
Yeah, well, yeah. Unfortunately, those guys are on terrible baseball clubs at the moment. Except, really, anything can really change around in a matter of a couple of years for a lot of ball clubs. I think baseball hopefully is going to kind of get a little more parity. Obviously, the CBA might come into it where teams can rebuild a lot quicker. I mean, look at some of the other ball clubs. Like, gosh, I was just thinking about this the other day. I mean, the Cardinals are kind of an example of that, unfortunately, in our own division. To be able to, like, turn around losing seasons and be competitive right away. But, you know, Ellie's Ellie, and we're going to, like the guy said, we have to enjoy him as long as we have him. Hopefully we'll be able to enjoy him longer than just the 2029 season being the last one. But I don't know. My take is that 2027 is going to be shortened. It's going to be the last year for Tito. The Reds are going to go on a hot streak, go to the World Series, and win the 2027 World Series. So, fingers crossed.
Clip it. Fingers clip
crossed. It. Yeah, if it's an 80-game season, anything can happen, right?
80-game season, we win 60.
Yeah. Ellie MVP.
Ellie still hits like 40 home runs.
Hey, I don't know. Yeah,
goes on a historic run.
But yeah, that's I like that positive comment. Maybe we should switch it up a little more, get some more positivity in here.
I had some negative ones I could have used. I just decided not to.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a bunch from the Marlins series and the first game of the Colorado game. That would have been
Yeah.
interesting to see. But yeah, well, we're now the part of the show. We're going to highlight the minor leagues of the Reds, where we call 3 up, 3 down, where we got 3 guys that have been doing pretty well. But actually, it's 4 because I love the ACL Reds so much. I'm throwing in those guys as well. Actually, I think I got 5 or 6 guys now. I just keep adding to that. But now
6 down.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's maybe just 6 up, 3 down. So we're a little bit. Then the 3 guys that we got here, AAA Ryan Velade, the former Cardinal, 8 of 21 with 3 home runs and 6 RBIs this week. Also wanted a special shout out to Zach Maxwell, who had yesterday in 1 inning, he had the illustrious 4 strikeout in 1 inning game where I think they had a drop third strike. And the guy went to first type of thing, and then got the strikeout of the side after that or something like that. Jay Allen, shout out to him. He's been on the 3 down a lot this season. Yeah. He's been coming on a lot lately. They've been 6 of 19 this week, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. And in the month of July, he's hitting 302. So shout out to him. Glad that he's kind of getting back on track. And then for single A Daytona, Ryan McChrystal went 6 for 15 this week and 5 RBIs. Game-winning hit, I think, for Daytona last week. So that's pretty good. He's kind of the backup to Alfredo Dano. Dano might be on his way kind of up. If he's maybe not this year. I don't know exactly. He's 19, so he's at least splitting time with Dano. He got to be able to have a little maybe more plate appearances because Dano was at the Futures game on Saturday. So shout out to Ryan McChrystal on that. And then the ACL Reds, the guys I wanted to shout out were Arnaldo Antigua, had 3 home runs, 10 RBIs this week. 10 RBIs for Antigua. And like I said, ACL Red don't play every day. At least like they don't play like a full 6-game week. And most of those guys play like 4 of the 6 games, if that. And then Sheng-En Lin, our favorite unicorn, had 4 innings and 2 hits and 7 strikeouts. And he had a home run and 4 RBIs this week, proving that we got another unicorn in the mix. Hopefully, if Ellie should depart, maybe Sheng-En Lin will be our new guy to be a unicorn to put on every poster that he can pitch and hit. Any thoughts on these guys?
Yeah, Sheng-En Lin's been heating up offensively. Yesterday he went 1 for 2 with 2 walks and an RBI. So he's getting there. I think the hitting for him is just he's been focusing more on pitching this season, and they're trying to get it to where he can do both. He's been DHing and he's been playing as a starter. He came in as a reliever the other day, but it's ACL. They're kind of just throwing guys out there. Lantigua, man, we got him for, what was it? International pool money from the Dodgers, so they could get Roki Sasaki. And I mean, he could be a future top 100 prospect, future highly ranked team prospect. So, I mean, he's got tons of power, some decent speed. He steals some bases. He had a couple triples, I believe, also. And Jay Allen, we kind of had a stretch where we had some pretty bad draft picks, with Austin Hendrick. I don't want to talk negatively about him, but he hasn't really set the world on fire in the minor leagues. And the same with Jay Allen. He's kind of been battling injuries and not really performing, but he has I think I highlighted him on my minor league recap yesterday. He has a 929 OPS in July. Like, he's not only hitting, he's getting on base and he's hitting for power. So, I mean, maybe he's a late bloomer also, maybe, not all is lost on Hendrick and Jay Allen. And maybe in the next 2 years, 2.5 years, we see them on the major league roster. And maybe one of those guys goes on a Rhys Hines type run where he goes out and, hits 6 extra base hits in his first week of his career. And, you never know. These guys are obviously very good baseball players. They wouldn't have been drafted had they not been. But some guys just take a little longer than most, and they came in at a weird time because he was a 2021 draft pick, right? Jay Allen, because he was the year after Hendrick, right?
Mhm.
So you figure the minor leagues were kind of reshuffled. They were kind of throwing their 2020 draft picks in there too, kind of at the same time. So I don't think everybody got the kind of, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Focus from coaching staff. They kind of more team oriented coaching and not player by player.
Right.
So I mean, it seems like maybe just that took a toll on these guys, and they were young. He was a high school player too, wasn't he? Or am I thinking?
I believe so. I think he's from Florida, I want to say. So I think he's a highly ranked high school prospect.
Yeah. So I think they could prove to do something in the future.
I say, see Clay Stoughton. We do have outfielders. Just shout out to Clay. But anyway, but yeah, it's good to see Jay Allen kind of bounce back. We have highlighted him a bunch on the down, so we want these guys to hopefully be back up on the upside. And he's heating up in July. He's like a true Red player, just heating up when the months come around. So maybe he will be a Red that will start off slow in April and May and catch fire in June and July. For a 3 down, these were 3 pitchers, which is kind of crazy. I guess our batting has been pretty decent in the month of July, but our pitching has kind of taken a little bit of downturn. Chase Petty has struggled of late. He went 1-2 in the month of July, or so far in the month of July, with a 9.75 ERA. Not necessarily good stuff out of him because he had really good starts. He might be retooling some stuff since he got sent back down or whatnot, but he's kind of had a pretty strong AAA season to start the year, but kind of has tailed off of late. TJ Sycamore, it went 3.1 innings and 6 ERAs, 6 earned runs, I should say, in his outing just recently. And his season has been pretty rough overall. 6.69 ERA for the whole year, which is rough just on its surface. And Luke Hayden in July has been beaten up as well. 0-2 with an 18 ERA, and his last start, he only went 1/3 of an inning. I don't believe he was injured. I think he just got hit around because he gave up like 5 earned runs and just recorded 1 out. So just not great stuff out of the pitching staff. Kind of mirroring again the major league ball club level where the pitching has kind of struggled of late. I guess our minor leagues are, I don't know, just kind of taking a note and being like, hey, we could struggle just as well as the major league club can. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But anyway, these 3 guys have been on the up. Well, not 3. 2 of the 3 of these guys have been on the up a portion of this segment before. Unfortunately, now they're on the downside, but hopefully they can have a bounce back going forward. Any thoughts on these guys?
Yeah, Chase Petty. I had wanted to see him called up to the major league roster at some point around this time, maybe early August. And I don't know, maybe calling him up out of necessity messed with his confidence, and I don't know, just didn't get the development he needed. He kind of got rushed in. His last start, 3 home runs, 6 earned runs, 7 hits, and 5 innings. He still struck out 5, but I mean, these guys were just crushing him. And Luke Hayden, didn't he recently got added to the top 30 list for the Reds. So he's been on the up for a lot of this season. And I didn't know a whole lot about Sycamore.
Yeah,
Sakima?
he's a 26-year-old lefty at Chattanooga, I believe.
Yeah, people give Austin Hendrick hate for being just turning 24 in Double A, and this guy's 26 getting shelled in Double A. So I don't know. Some 3 innings, 6 earned runs in his last start, you said. So hopefully we see him on a 3-up coming up soon. And another guy I wanted to kind of highlight on a 3-down, I guess low light on a 3-down is Ovis Portez. We got him in the Lucas Sims trade last year. 6 earned runs, 6 hits, and 2 innings in Daytona.
Ouch.
2 days ago on the 11th. So kind of a rough week for Reds pitching down on the farm.
Yeah. Hopefully this will be like one of the last weeks to see these guys, especially Hayden and Petty, have been bright spots this year. But it's baseball. We got to work through the rough patches and hopefully get better from it.
It's all you can do.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and looking forward to this week. We have the All-Star Game. I don't know if you heard of this one, Ricky. It's the Mid-Summer Classic. It starts off tomorrow, technically. Well, I guess it started on Saturday. If we want to talk about like all the festivities, I was watching the Futures game for a little bit. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that, but our guys didn't get too much playing time. I think they got maybe 3 plate appearances between the two of them. But it was good to see those guys represent the Reds. They seem to have a good time, getting out there. This is Alfredo Duno and Sal Stewart. If you weren't aware, they were in the Futures game, which happened on Saturday. And my only take about it is like, why is it on a Saturday? Why are we doing it when Major League Baseball is playing? When they have an off day on Wednesday, why not just play the Futures game after the All-Star game? And then we have something to watch that won't conflict, because it was the same time as the Reds game. So, I mean, It was on a different screen for me. But, like, I don't know. That's my only take. Like, why do it Saturday? There's still minor league games being played on Saturday. Like, so we're just going to, I know minor leagues, but, you know what I mean? Like, they're being missed from their team, basically. But I don't know. That's my only take is, like, put it on Wednesday after the All-Star game. Nothing is played on Wednesday after the All-Star break. It's considered the dead period of sports. Usually that's when the ESPYs are. I don't even know if the ESPYs are still a thing, but that's when they usually do it, because there's literally no sports. Wimbledon's done. All-Star games on Tuesday. I don't know. That's just my take.
I agree. And Sal Stewart had a pretty cool moment. He was mic'd up during the game. I don't know if you caught that part. He said, "I'm having a blast. I've met a lot of great people here. They're all All-Stars pretty soon. So hopefully you are too, Sal." That was kind of a cool, kind of seeing a Reds prospect highlighted in a game. And I hope baseball does more of that in game. Like, baseball is like the only sport you can really mic somebody up and kind of do it live during a broadcast. You can interview a player during a game. And I guess we can maybe go on a tangent before we talk about the Mets series on this coming weekend.
Yeah.
But if there's one thing you take from the Savannah Bananas, is you take how they broadcast a game, not play a game, how they run their show during their game. But I think that they're on ESPN Plus, but they're also on YouTube. And I think we threw out an idea. YouTube, obviously they have memberships, and let's just say hypothetically, every team has a YouTube page that they post clips and highlights from. So maybe you have an MLB YouTube membership that is kind of like how you would pay for MLB at Bat, where it's like, $120. You get the membership, you pay for it for a year or whatever, and then like or maybe monthly, you make it like how they do monthly for MLB at Bat. It's like $30 a month. You do that, you get access to all the MLB games, and then for each team, be a lesser price, but you get, let's say for us, we buy the Reds package, it'd be like $15 a month or whatever, or $20 a month per team. And the team broadcast crew would have access to a live chat, and let's just say they mic up Matt McClain at second base. They can take questions from the chat. Like, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my one thing you kind of take from the Savannah Bananas is just take YouTube, and just YouTube is the most popular platform there is. And I don't know, you won't have any blackouts. It's just YouTube. It's all streaming. And I think that's the way you stream, is you actually legitimately stream. You don't go through these third parties so many games on Hulu, so many games on Apple TV, so many games on ESPN Plus. You just go to YouTube, you pick your team, and you pay for that team. And I think you can make a lot of money off that. I think you can grow teams' fan bases that way too.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much MLB makes off of MLB.TV, but that's basically kind of like a substitution of MLB.TV. The question I have for you, Ricky, is that does YouTube have blackouts? Because that's the one thing that MLB TV has that's pretty frustrating for a lot of fans. Even Tommy Bennett was talking about how he's blacked out for Reds games in North Carolina. So there's that. Hopefully YouTube doesn't have that. That would be a plus on the plus side. But I think it'd just be kind of they still have the TV contracts with like a FanDuel or whatever, but this would be like a subsequent, like an additional, right? Like, is that what you're saying? Kind of like how, for example, there's always for football games, there's always alternative streams. You know what I mean? Like there's the alternative broadcast of like the Manning brothers, for example, or for like college football, the championship game, there's like alternative streams and whatnot you can do. They should just can do that if they're able to do that. I don't know if Barry Larkin wants to read the chat though, man. I think he would.
I think he's more focused on the Orlando Dreamers than he is broadcasting a game. I don't think he said a word the other day for like 2 innings.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he would not want to hear any of the negativity out of the chat, and I'm not sure if Sadak
it'd be a live chat like Barry, say something.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people that would get after it that way.
Sadak would thrive in that. I think Sadak would thrive in that. Just imagine Sadak dropping in on let's just say TJ Friedel, and then Sir Boy Wonder comes in and is like, nice catch. And he's like, hey, Sir Boy Wonder in the chat said, hey, nice catch. I'm like, thanks, dude. Just like, but I'm almost to the point where I just make that the standard. And then you have like YouTube is the standard broadcast. And then you just have additional broadcasts on YouTube. You have, I guess it'd be hard to do, but, or maybe you have, let's just say YouTube's the thing, and then you use the other streaming services like Apple TV or Hulu as an alternative broadcast, and they do something like that. Like, let's just say kind of like the Pat McAfee show when they do college football, the playoffs.
Yep.
It's gotten kind of crazy because I don't know if you've seen lately the last college football championship, they had like 9 simulcasts. Yeah, they had ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN News, ESPN Plus, ESPN on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was wild.
Yeah,
and I think that kind of it's not fair to the teams that, or any other sport, honestly, that maybe has a good thing going, where you use the entire market of your brand to cover one game as many ways as possible. It's like, let's just say. That'd be in what, January? Like NBA's going on. You could have a NBA game on during that day, but you talk about 9 broadcasts covering the same game. Like how many different perspectives do you need? Like I'm cool with like 2, I'm cool with like the game and their broadcast crew and then having like 1 or 2 extra.
Yeah. Well, it's what you're talking about in terms of like the MLB option of YouTube that you're presenting is like they're trying to reach out because media, television, streaming is so fractured. Like everyone can go anywhere nowadays to get certain things, whether it's your television shows or your sports or whatever you watch. Like I think the situation is that they're just trying to catch all the audiences with different, and also ESPN paid a lot of money for the college football playoff, to be honest with you. Like they want to make sure they get their money worth, basically is why there's 9 different streams of it. So that if you accidentally stumble across it, because I don't know, maybe you're just, going through your channels and that pops up, maybe they get a new fan, maybe they just get, that viewer or whatever. I don't know. I think it's just trying to, like you said, like cover all your bases. Like you have YouTube, you have FanDuel, you have Apple. Like there's a lot of different ways to get it, a lot of different ways to skin a cat. But we're no longer living in the world where there's 3 channels. So they have to try to find these people because now all of a sudden there's like there's so many other different options other than just sports and movies and whatnot. There's so many different options out there that they're just trying to piece it all together to make it seem like, that their ratings aren't going down. Because technically, yeah, the ratings are going down because everyone's watching everything on streaming. How do you like monitor that? Or obviously different companies have their different ways of quantifying how many people are watching, but there's no real way to tell. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very subjective, I feel.
Yeah, but like with baseball, like technically I'm blacked out. I just use a VPN, It's like yeah, that's how I get around it. But do you want to know how many people are on YouTube? Like if you go
For
by
the world?
monthly,
Oh,
2.5 billion monthly active users are on YouTube. 122 million daily users. And they say that translates to about 1 billion watch hours a day and about 5 billion videos being watched per day. So if you were to, I don't know, find a way to monetize off of that, because we've seen how YouTube works, like there's ad revenue available. You can still throw in commercials. I mean, there's not a need to get rid of commercial breaks. But let's just say here I am trying to come up with a business plan live on the air, but let's just say the Reds broadcast is $30 a month. And you pay $30 a month for your, let's just say it's for a whole year, for even with the off season. Maybe you get some bonus content like how some YouTube creators do. YouTube's really strict on their private videos, especially membership videos. It's really hard to stream those, like illegally stream those to other sites while you're watching those. I'm sure people find a way, but I don't know, man. Like you figure the size of YouTube, and let's just say, I don't know, 20 million people buy that plan. 20 million times $30, you're looking at $600 million in revenue for a season.
yeah.
I mean, 20 million people isn't too far fetched because there's fans outside of Cincinnati that like the Reds too. And maybe more realistic numbers, probably like 12 or 13 million, but that's still a lot of money. And to be able to watch your games blackout free on the easiest platform to use in YouTube, you click Google search youtube.com and then you just type in your team and there it is. And I don't know, hopefully someone in MLB hears this and they agree, because I think that's the one thing. If you want to grow your sport, digital is the way to go, and there's no easier digital platform than YouTube.
Yeah. You're not wrong at all, because I think I heard like even an interview of Kara Swisher, who's like a reporter on Silicon Valley, talked about if you're towards YouTube in any certain way, whatever YouTube can provide for your business, then you're gonna be left behind. Basically, is what they were talking about. So, shout out to YouTube. They're also helping us.
We are live on YouTube.
So shout out to them. Shout out to Google, our overlords, our benevolent overlords. So we're very
Our reptilian leaders.
we're very grateful that we can use this platform and YouTube to get our content out to you guys. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Should we talk about baseball, or should we try to make Rob Manfred's job easier? I feel like I feel like even if you told him this plan, he'd still mess it up somehow.
Yeah, I mean, he was a pretty bad lawyer also. So I don't know. I think there's ways you could do it, but yeah, I guess we'll move on to the Mets and then we'll wrap it up, I guess.
Yeah, the Reds are going to have a couple days off. Hopefully regroup and recharge, except for, Abbott and Ellie, who will be out there on Tuesday night. Shout out to them. I don't understand this. I get that Abbott was a replacement. I get that, but like Skeens, I don't know why is he starting. He's 4-8. He stinks. Anyway, but starting on Friday, Lodolo's going to start against the Mets. Then we got Martinez and Abbott on Sunday. So I don't know. Do you see like even Abbott maybe pitching, maybe just one inning at most. Like I don't know. Like I feel like if he's not going to be used, I'm not going to be mad at that. Obviously, I think he probably wants to play, but I'd rather him pitch 9 innings against the Mets on Sunday, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I think 1 inning's probably the max. Hunter Green only got an inning last year, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't pitch at all. Just there's a lot of good players in the National League, a lot of good relievers too.
I got an idea. I get
Yeah,
4 2/3 inning for Skeens, 4 1/3 inning for Jacob Mizorowski. Let's just blow their arms out. So
yeah.
so that
And then
these
Abbott comes
in-division
in and
guys-
closes it out.
Yeah, sure, whatever. He can get the last out. You just get the final out. But yeah, let's just blow out the guys' arms that are in our division and call it a day. That sounds like a good plan to me.
It sounds good to me.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know. It'll be fun to see them out there on Tuesday. The Mets, though, they are back on top of the division. The Phillies dropped off a bit. The Mets are going to be a good team, and in New York, of all places, they'll be in Queens. So I don't know, man. Not get swept, I think, is the mantra I'm thinking at the moment. What about you?
Yep, that's the only thing I'm living by right now. I'll take 1 out of 2 if you can't get swept. Let's keep that banner going as long as we can. That's it. It's become a meme in a way, but
Yeah,
I mean, kind of impressive, and it's kind of historic too. I think we're so many games away, or so many series away from setting a record, I think. Yeah, the Mets, they are 55-42. Technically, they're a half game back of the Phillies. They have won 6 out of their last 10. They're 6-4. They had a stretch about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, where they had lost, I think, 6 in a row or something. And I don't know. We seem to have an ability to play up to our opponents. Shout out Mike Valentine.
yeah.
He's been the one I've heard say that the most. And we play down to our opponents, as you saw with the Colorado series. So
Yep.
even though we lost 2 out of 3 to Philadelphia, we still kind of played up to them in a way. Boston's a weird team. They've won a lot recently. They've won 10 in a row now, I think.
Yep.
So
we basically were their
we started that
series. Yeah.
we were the team that got it. Shout out Chase Burns for letting them figure out their offense because it seemed to work for them. But I'm glad Chase Burns bounced back from that, by the way. But sure. The Mets, they're a great team. You know, Francisco Lindor, the first baseman, Pete Alonso.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean they got a lot of great players, some good pitchers. I would like to see at least 1 win. It is in New York, I believe, right? So
correct, yes.
You want to go out on the road and not get swept.
For sure. I don't know if playing up to their competition is a compliment at this point, because you'd like that the Reds would be able to have like their own identity, get out there and play their brand of baseball, and not necessarily have to be playing to a certain level. So having them play like competitive with the Phillies, you want that to be competitive every series, but not necessarily like allow a team like Miami or Colorado to take games off of you when the division's already tough as it is. I mean, there's 3 teams ahead of them that have 50+ wins. The Reds are in 4th place with 50 wins. This is going to look like it's going to be an interesting next 6 weeks, to say the least. I don't know exactly who's going to be buyers. Probably the Cubs. Probably not the Brewers. I say the Brewers. Probably the Cardinals. Just because they're that close to the wild card. They're 1.5 games out. We're 2.5 games out. But you'd love to see the Reds take 2 out of 3 in New York to kickstart their campaign of like, hey, we're here, because not only do they have the Mets this month, they have the Dodgers. Who else? It's a rough stretch coming up in the rest of the month of Tampa Bay, another team that's above 500. Who else they got coming? It's going to be interesting end of the month. If the Reds can, I think they still have a winning month this month, or maybe 500. If they can be 500 or a winning month this month, I think that gives them a chance.
Yeah, we got the Mets, the Nationals, the Rays, the Dodgers, and then the Braves going into that Speedway series to round out the month. It's going to be interesting. We got pick number 51 if you want to see who that is.
I was gonna try to keep a tab on that. They got it. The pick is in, as they say.
Aaron Walton out of Trinity Christian Academy, right-handed pitcher.
Another high schooler. Okay. Let's see what they say about him.
See if there's anything on him. What I say? His name was Tristan.
Aaron Watson.
Aaron
Age 18, 6'5", right-hander, 205 pounds. Scouting grades: 55 fastball, 50 slider, 50 changeup, 50 control, 50 overall. What it says here,
he was the 45th ranked prospect.
Yeah, so they got a guy that was probably supposed to go a little bit higher, but didn't. But
back-to-back high school players.
Yeah, and this one again is a guy that don't know much about, but he's from Florida. Usually a lot of good baseball products out of Florida. Big kid already. He's 18 and 6'5". Yeah,
I got his MLB numbers up here. The prospect ranked ahead of him was Jack Bauer. So he has a fastball that is typically in the low 90s, but has been up to 95. So 18 throwing that pretty good. He has a curveball. No, he had a curveball and changed it to a slider. He misses bats 78 to 82 miles per hour and a mid 80s split change that he doesn't throw often. So he's a project. He's 6'5". He's probably going to be bigger. And I don't know, maybe he grows into his body and throws 100 when he comes up. I think guys like him, I mean, hopefully I'm wrong. He could be an elite starter, but if you can at least come up and be a legit bullpen pitcher, you want that. But he's got stuff, and hopefully, he becomes something. It's baseball, and it's a draft. You never know what these guys become. Mike Trout was drafted later in the first round, so you never know.
Shout out to Mark Burley getting his statue this weekend, 38th round pick. Oh, that's what I was going to bring up. There was a draft. I got to look it up now. Maybe in the 90s. The rules of the MLB draft back then were such that the drafts would only end if there were no more teams that wanted to pick players. And it had to be at least two teams. It can't just be one team picking and picking. So I want to say, there's the longest draft ever. I think it happened in the 90s or something like that, where two teams kept going back and forth, and went some 100+ rounds or something like that. It was crazy. This was also before the reorganization of the minors. So there were some teams would have 6 or 7 affiliates, right? As opposed to the 4 I think they're only supposed to have now. So it's crazy how MLB drafts can get. I'm trying to quickly look up the longest MLB draft. I don't know if you got it before me or whatever, but that was just a weird stat that I saw recently.
I have the longest MLB draft was 100 rounds in 1996, where there was 1,740 players drafted.
Yeah, that's when literally the rules of the draft were that if there was two teams that still wanted to pick, they could keep going basically for eternity. But they probably stopped at 100 because that seems to make sense. Or at least,
you want to know some notable players out of that draft?
Out of the 100 rounds, or just the first couple?
Let's just say overall, I guess.
All right.
First round pick, number 1 overall, Chris Benson to the Pirates. Travis Lee, number 2 overall to Minnesota.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if I recognize any names. Mark Kotze went to the Florida Marlins at number 9. Eric Chavez at number 10 to the Athletics.
Oh, yes.
Adam Eaton to the Phillies at number 11. R.A. Dickey at number 18 to the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
Former Red Eric Milton to the New York Yankees as the number 20 pick.
Nice.
That's all I'm seeing there. Jason Marquise. You remember him? Was he a former Rocky for a time? Or am I thinking of somebody else? But
Jason Marquis?
Yeah.
Former, yeah. I think he was a former Cub too.
I think so. He got drafted by the Atlanta Braves at pick 35. And then some notable later round picks. Alex Cora, 3rd round to the Dodgers. Joe Creedy, 5th round to the Chicago White Sox. Brad Penny in the 5th round to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Mark DeRosa, 7th round to the Braves.
Another former Cub.
Shea Hillenbrand, 10th round to the Red Sox.
Dang.
Let's see. Roy Oswalt, 23rd round to the Astros.
That's crazy.
And then I'll end on this one. Actually, I got 2 because one's a former Red. Ted Lilly, 23rd round to the Dodgers. And then Kyle Loesch, 29th round to the Cubs.
Of course. Yeah. Why not? Why not?
See if I see any Reds picks on here while you're Barry Zito, 59th round. Didn't sign, but he was a 59th round draft pick.
That was crazy.
Quincy Carter was an NFL player drafted.
All right. Shout out to him.
Hey. The more you know.
Yeah, man. And it found out the 96 draft was the 100-round draft, the one that never ended. Guess how many rounds it went in 97?
Like 40?
No, 92 rounds. They followed up 100 rounds with 92 rounds the next year. Like, what are we doing here? Baseball out of control in the 90s, man. Not just the steroids, but the drafting was out of control. My goodness. What are we doing here? I guess
the last pick in the 1996 MLB draft was outfielder Aaron Amundsen by the Yankees in the 100th round.
Shout out to him, Mr. Irrelevant for baseball, 1996.
I wonder if he ever did anything in baseball.
You saying the way you said his name made it sound like no one's heard of him, or maybe his family. So, unfortunately, sorry, Mr. Edmondson.
He ended up playing independent league baseball. Let's see. I have his stats pulled up. Shout out Baseball Reference.
Yeah, Baseball Reference.
He does. He never played in any minor league system. He played in independent league. 1999, he played on 2 different teams. And then in 2000, he played in Springfield. He is a career 204 hitter, 301 slug. He's got 1 home run in his career.
All right.
Shout out him making a career in baseball as the last pick in the 1996 illustrious draft.
Illustrious, infamous.
Every word you could use.
Like I said, the 90s were a crazy time, man. 90s were a crazy time.
I don't know about you, but I think that's how we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna talk about the 1996 draft.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's kind of like our outro, but this is, we were thinking about recording some of our more nonsensical stuff. I guess we just included it into the episode this time around.
Yeah, might as well. I guess we could shout out Dubby. Use code RedHot10 if you want any of the best Focus energy drink at 0 sugar. You bought some. You said it's pretty good. Still haven't bought any yet. I'm slacking. But, shout out Doug, Jordan. I guess for me, shout out James Rapine. for
Yeah.
allowing me to write on his platform at SI. That's kind of cool. It still doesn't even seem real to me. It was funny. I was trying to Google something earlier and my own article popped up. I was like, whoa, this is surreal. Yeah.
That's good.
And then meeting some contacts through them too, kind of getting a little more inside baseball stuff is pretty neat. So shout out all them guys. I think James actually liked the stream on X. So great guy. I think he's going to be a future guest. We're going to get him on hopefully this week. I think it's his last sane week mentally for him for a while.
Football's coming.
Football's coming, and he's going to be slammed. And he's got a young kid too. He's got, I think, like a 1 or 2 year old kid. So busy guy.
That's a rough time.
And another guest coming on here soon too is Trace Fowler, Chatterbox Sports. Yeah, one of many, I guess. But Trace agreed to come on. We'll get him on eventually. I don't know if it's going to be live or not. We might record it, just depending on who and when and what and where and why, as Trace says. But busy week coming up.
Yeah. Shout out to Nick Kirby for getting a side swipe by the Rockies announcers yesterday.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So, he's famous now. He's now the Votto's walks are the same as Ellie strikeouts guy, which is totally reductive. But
it's not even what he said.
But that's what
they took the end of his clip. Are like, that's what he said. This random social media guy. He's like, do you
even give his name? Come on, just throw some respect at Nick Kirby.
Yeah. Nick Kirby, the GOAT.
Yeah. So shout out to him for joining us as well. Thanks.
That too. All these interviews are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So if you missed them live or missed the episode on YouTube, we can always go back. I have our link tree in our description, so it's got all of our links. I added Apple Podcasts and Spotify to those, so you can always check us out in podcast form too. It's kind of cool. Apple Podcasts, seeing us out there. I kind of went back and listened to some old ones. I was like, man, I sound terrible.
Yeah, I try to listen to it the day after.
2 times speed.
Yeah, well, just to hear how many times I say or I don't know, because I got some crutches I try to get rid of from time to time. But yeah, probably
trying to sound more professional,
Yeah. What's that?
My problem is that I run words together. I'm a hillbilly, mile an hour instead of miles per hour, stuff like that. I was raised on a farm, man. It's hard. Fair. It's hard to kick those habits.
Yeah. Fair. All right. Well, yeah. Are you on a pregame show on Friday?
As far as I know, yes. I'll have to check my schedule. I think I might have something coming up. I might have to see if I can get somebody to cover for me. But if not, I will be on the pregame show Friday, and then we'll be back here live on Sunday to talk about the All-Star game and the Mets series, hopefully a winning series.
Yep. All right. You ready to sign off?
Let's do it. Go Reds.
Go Reds.
We're the Reds. Red hot.